Hey everybody, Adam Savage here in my cave, and I'm answering questions about MythBusters and my time therein. And today's question comes from tested patron Mr. Roboto. Domo arigato. Mr. Roboto says, did I make that joke? I probably make that joke every single time. Sorry. Everyone in the world makes that joke for your username. Low-hanging fruit. Anyway, Mr. Roboto says, were there any skills that you were average at when MythBusters began and excellent at when the show ended? Oh, man. So many. So many. Hold on, I got to close the door. So, late in MythBusters' tenure, we wrapped the show in 2015. Late in our tenure, I'd say around 2012, 2013, we'd already been doing the show for a decade. Jamie and I started to, how did we do this? Oh, right, so the ratings started going down, right? The ratings, MythBusters ratings basically went on a steady arc up, roundabout till about 2010, 2011. And they crested and held there for a long time. This 2003 to 2011, it's like 7 or 8 years of steadily great ratings. And then they crested and they started to fall again. It's just a bell curve. You know, we saw it coming. We weren't necessarily surprised. We were mostly surprised by how long it lasted, but we could see the end coming. And that led to a cause for reflection between the two of us about, like, wow, yeah, as we're looking at the end of this thing, we started having conversations about it as an abstract concept. Like, wow, look at this thing that we've gone and done. And just to give you a little bit of history, right? Jamie Heineman had been working in special effects for 20 years. I had been working in special effects for about 10 when we started making MythBusters. He had worked on dozens of feature films, hundreds of commercials. I had worked on about a dozen film and a couple of hundred commercials. I think Jamie worked on over 1,000. We had both been professional makers for the largest portion of our lives. And we'd worked at Industrial Light and Magic. We worked it for the big studios. We'd done important, exciting work that felt like it took all of our ability, right? And we had both achieved what we felt like was some reasonable amount of success in that field of special effects model making and the making of things. So when MythBusters started, I will admit that we both thought, yeah, we've got some skills to bring to this show, right? Like, we kind of had drunk our own Kool-Aid, that the opening credits, together with over 30 years of experience in special effects. Like, yeah, we were like, yeah, we got some skills. The thing that we both laughed about 10 years later when we assessed how it had gone and what we had done, both of us were like, we were such babies. We had no idea. We had no idea what this job would be like. We had no idea how difficult it would be. And neither of us had any conception of just how much we would learn. And the fact is yeah, what we learned on that show is unparalleled. And it is less about a specific skill, really, than it is about the agglomeration of all of the skills. Because as a problem solver, my favorite kind of employment is employment that changes all the time. I like being occupied by different problems to solve. It's why I gravitated towards special effects and the high-pressure atmosphere of a film set. I like solving problems under pressure, under a deadline. I like the way in which a deadline hacks branches off the decision tree. I like the way it refines your thinking down to the essence of what needs to get done right now when everything else is costing 10 grand a minute to solve this problem. How am I going to solve it? I love that feeling. And I joke that I'm mediocre at all of the skills I have. Really, all of the skills I have, I am mediocre. I'm not an expert at any one thing except, what am I an expert at? I didn't even know. My expertise is in all of the number of skills that I have gained over the years and how to overlap them to get something done. And so, in that regard, the doing MythBusters was very similar to working in film and special effects. Different problems to solve every day under tight timelines, under tight budgets. But the scale was the difference. Because in special effects, you're almost always working here. You're working here. I mean, I have friends that build sets for things like American Ninja Warrior, and those are big sets, right? Those are huge logistical things. That's not the kind of area that I was in special effects. It's mostly localized right here. The scale of not only coming up with a methodology of how to do something, and then figuring out how to build the thing to adhere to that methodology, and thinking about how to document it so the rigor was apparent, and then how to use that to tell the story to the layperson about what you're doing. The scale is the biggest difference between what we had done before the show and what we did once we were doing the show. And the scale of MythBusters was gargantuan. And so, yeah, it's really about like resource allocation and project management is without a doubt the biggest thing I came out of MythBusters with, that I was way better at it than when I started. Absolutely. Yeah. Resource allocation and production management. That's like, how do you, oh, you know what? I did become an expert at one specific weird ass thing making MythBusters. And that is, I know that the joke here on Tested is that every one-day build takes longer than a day and my powers of estimating are wrong. The fact is that is true when it comes to the stuff that I make for myself. When I am on the clock, my ability to estimate how long something will take is fantastic. I'm really good at that, but I'm really specifically good at knowing what I can complete within a day. The example I will give you is on the Smithsonian build. To remind you, in 2019, COVID has thrown off all of my dates. But yes, in the summer of 2019, the Tested team and I went to the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C., where we assembled in one day a hatch of the command module, the Columbia command module from Apollo 11. That hatch had pieces built for it by, I think, over 100 makerspaces from all over the world. I might be getting that number wrong. And so the question as we were going kept on coming to me from my team is, are we going to be able to build this in a day? And I kept on looking at it saying, yes, we will. And, I could tell they were like, I hope he's right, man. I hope he's really right. But this is this weird specific skill I got, is how to paint myself into a corner where something has to happen by the end of the day. And I get this, I have this institutional knowledge now from MythBusters of being able to hit that mark really, really close. Mr. Roboto, thank you so much for that awesome question. Tested patrons, keep submitting them, and I will keep answering them. If you want to know how to get in the club and be a Tested patron, it's in the comments below. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you next time.